Gostisbehere with it. Kane still keeping the pressure on. Gostisbehere hammers it. Oh! Hit the parlay! Another ghost sighting in October. And the Canes with a goal on the power play, make it 2-1. Good pass there by Kochetkov. It'll come across Robinson. They'll score! Deflected out in front. Marty Necas, where he started his career. He ties it at 2 here in Edmonton. McDavid feeds it out front. Andersen with another save, this time on Draisaitl. And Necas is able to play it. And it could be a 2-on-1 for Carolina. Aho with it. He's got Gostisbehere. Aho holds. His shot stopped by Skinner. Gostisbehere will get to the rebound. He'll keep it in. Necas, he's got Aho. He tees it up. Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime.
Wow. Hi, everyone. It is the Canes Corner Podcast. I'm Adam Gold. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy, Hannah, and crew do a great job. You should check them out. If the exterior of your home needs exteriorizing. Not really a word, but that's okay. It's late. It's a little chilly outside, and the Hurricanes won a wild one, 3-2. Overtime in Edmonton. All right, there's a lot really to unpack, and we're trying to keep these around 30 minutes. So let's just start with the biggest picture here. And whether it's game 1 against Tampa, which was frankly a terrible hockey game played by both sides, that the Lightning just won because of 2 power play goals. Carolina had way more scoring chances, didn't capitalize. Next time out against the Devils, really, I had no issues. I thought Carolina just dominated the game. They were better against Pittsburgh, way better against the Penguins. Except the Hurricanes left a lot of meat on the bone in that game, and it went to the third period 3-1. It could have gotten hairy. Pittsburgh got an early power play, and Carolina was able to kill it and then get the next goal, but you left yourself open in the third period. St. Louis, it bit them. Dominate the game, get the first goal within the first 90 seconds from Svechnikov, and you don't do really, anything else with all of your opportunities to score in the first period. Probably should have been 3-0. And then you fall asleep for about a 3-minute stretch, middle of the period. It started with some power play opportunities for the Blues. And you end up giving up the lead. You get the game even, but then you give it away. So it was really a situation where you should have been well ahead, and you weren't. And then tonight, I thought in the first period, not that Edmonton wasn't good. Edmonton was good. But Carolina missed. It Andrei Svechnikov with his backhand all alone in front of Stuart Skinner. Jack Drury and Jack Roslovic missed empty nets in the same sequence. Jordan Martinook had a backhand try of a shorthanded opportunity on the rebound of his own shot that Skinner is down on his stomach. Just flip it into the empty net, you get a goal. Misses everything. Those are just 4 opportunities in the first period that, it should have been 2-1 Carolina. Second period, kind of even, but they still missed opportunities. Nate just swung and missed at an empty net. It was off a direct pass, so he was trying to one-time it, just whiffed it. And they had other opportunities. Seth Jarvis, Sebastian Aho had 2 or 3 chances in the second period. It's 2-0 Edmonton. And you're thinking, and I know, we all see on Twitter, and all I was thinking of was, holy cow, they're not gonna get anything out of this game. And they were every bit as good, maybe even better than the Oilers. Now, I don't think they were better. I think it was an even hockey game. But they deserved something out of this, and you didn't think that they were going to get anything. Power play late in the second, carried over to the third. And you think, man, those early power plays to start a period are never good. Yeah, it's fresh ice. You get all that cliche garbage, but you're just not ready to play coming out of the locker room. But Marty Necas had another opportunity into, again, Stuart Skinner's down. He's got the whole goal. This one should have been a goal. Skinner made a miraculous save. And he was all like he was breakdancing, like that Australian breakdancer from the Olympics, whatever her name was. But the rebound comes back. Necas gets it to Gostisbehere, who did not waste any time. All of a sudden, it's 2-1. Hey, we're right in this hockey game. Frederik Andersen makes a couple of crazy saves. Then Jesperi Kotkaniemi in the neutral zone feeds Necas streaking across the blue line in the middle of the ice, gets the puck left to Eric Robinson. We'll explain. Eric Robinson, right? We'll explain. And then Mr. Robinson threw it down into Marty Necas' neighborhood right at the side of the goal. Incredible pass with pace. And Necas just redirected it in. That made it 2-2. Couple of hairy moments late, but ultimately the Hurricanes dragged the game into overtime, where with 7 seconds left, Sebastian Aho takes a pass from, Marty Necas, and the Hurricanes get an overtime win. Crazy. But this is a case where Carolina probably should have had more out of the early part of the game, but didn't. But the beauty of the way this team, and I think they're going to play this way all year. The reports of Carolina's demise based on their diminished roster, and nobody's denying that the roster isn't as talented in terms of offensive ability this year as it was last year. And they'll have to make sure that they increase that offensive component over the course of the season if they want in the playoffs to be truly impactful. But if you go back and you look at the roster that made the playoffs in the 18-19 season, and even to an extent 19-20 before the world shut down, it wasn't a loaded offensive group. It was a group of hardworking SOBs, and they just refused to go away. And the good part about this group is that, and I'm going to leave one of my favorite people out of this part of the conversation, but Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, 3 of the big lumber in Carolina's lineup in terms of point production. That's the way they play. That's the way Jarvis is wired. That's the way Svechnikov. How many puck retrievals did Andre have tonight? And Sebastian Aho, who I thought played 2 very good periods and then a weird, poor third, got it in overtime, got the game winner. And you could tell there was a little anger behind that shot with 7 seconds to play. I thought Aho played a pretty good game. I thought he played an excellent first period. I thought that line was great in the first period, just didn't have anything out of it. Again, the second period was pretty even for me. And then in the third period, I just thought I thought whether Seabass was trying to do too much or who knows. He just was a little lost. And if you saw in the third period, Rod initially made 1 flip. He flipped, might have been more than one. No, he left the Kotkaniemi line was left together initially. He flipped, he moved Blake up with Aho and Svechnikov. He took Jarvis and put him with Martinook and Staal. I don't know if it's going to happen in Calgary, but I think we're going to see that line again. Again, Seth plays that way. Seth plays the exact same way that Staal and Martinook play, man. It is wild to watch. But the final piece of the switch was putting Robinson with, by the way, Jackson Blake. I don't know if it was the wall. This was the Jackson Blake. Oh, that's right. You're a rookie game. It wasn't like that he was bad, because I don't think he was bad. But I think the game was played at a pace, not that he can't keep up with. Man, they don't play this many games in college. So he played Friday, Saturday. I guess he had 2 days off, but he just looked in the third period like that. All right, this might be a little much right now. And I think Rod recognized that. He put him up with Aho and Svechnikov for a couple of shifts. Didn't go very well. And all of a sudden, Roslovic was there. And I think Roslovic finished the game on that line. And I didn't think Jack was all that amazing either. It was probably, for the first time this year, the first time we saw the fourth line really get it taken to him. Well, I didn't think it was a particularly great night for Jack Drury, but that line was kind of invisible to me. But Robinson, who finished the game with Necas and Kotkaniemi. He's big, he's fast, and that pass was chef's kiss gorgeous. What a pass to Necas with about 6.5 minutes to go that got Carolina even. Just so the adjustment that Rod made to the lines, just to kind of change it up a little bit in the third period. It didn't start the third period that way, I don't believe. But he didn't wait very long to change it after the power play goal. So they stuck with it. Rod made some changes. Still didn't get enough out of their best moments. Well, let's get to, for my money, the first star of the game. Unlike what they decided in Edmonton. What a bunch of homers. Connor McDavid was the first star of the game. By the way, let's just give a couple quick shout-outs here. Let's shout out our friends in Australia. I love that. We have Aaron. We're huge, by the way, in Australia. I didn't even know if you knew that. It's lunchtime in Australia, so I need the Aussie Caniac to tell me where in Australia. It's a big country. I know we've got some folks in Perth, and we have Mikhailev, I believe, is in Adelaide. So you're going to have to let me know where you are. Also, hello from Latvia. Latvia. Riga? Shouts to Artur Zerbe and Sandis Ozolish. Don't you know? Let's see if we can find out where. Perth. Maybe Aussie Canadian. Maybe you're the guy from Perth. I don't know. Maybe there's multiple. Probably. If you're in Finland and you're watching, let us know. All right. Frederik Andersen, who I thought probably should have stopped the second one. I don't know. Maybe it's a goal. It's Connor McDavid. That's right. The original Marty McFlew from Perth. All right. Just changed his YouTube. All right, there you go. So whether or not Freddie should have stopped the second goal or not, he made 33 saves. He was great. And the Hurricanes could have lost this game 10 different times. Andersen really was that good. So we've now seen 5 games. I've seen Andersen play all 3. I thought he was very good against Tampa in the opener. I think he should have stopped. Definitely should have stopped the Kucherov goal that made it 2-1. So soft goal to lose it, but I thought he played well. He was excellent in Pittsburgh. Got 0 issues with what he did in Pittsburgh. And tonight, even though I think the second goal is questionable, I mean, I ain't going to argue with what he did tonight, because Edmonton could have scored a bunch of goals too. And they did not, because Freddie was great. So whether or not And I don't think Rod will necessarily do this. I fully expect Pyotr Kochetkov to start on Thursday in Calgary. But it doesn't change my long-term view of things, where I think Pyotr Kochetkov needs to be the goalie. Right now, Andersen's the better goalie. As we sit here today, I think Andersen gives you a better chance to win. And I would not be against giving Freddie an extra start here or there. Like if they wanted to start Freddie in Calgary and then split the last 2 games of the trip in Vancouver and Seattle, not that there's a back-to-back. We're going every other day. But if he wanted to start Freddie in Calgary, I got zero problem with that. You can go Freddie in Calgary, you can go Pyotr in Seattle, and then let Freddie finish up the trip in Vancouver. I had zero problem with that. Freddie, the way he played tonight, Freddie deserves another start. So I want to run through a couple of more things, and then we'll get to the big boppers for the goals, and we'll talk about them. Brent Burns, Rod Brindamore kind of let it slip today in my conversation with him before the game, because I asked him specifically about Brent because I think he's been very good the first 4 games of the season. I thought tonight he was exceptional. But I asked Rod before the game about Brent. He looks like he's in really good, we know he's in good shape because he and Staal were like tied for second behind Svechnikov in the fitness testing. So, the guy's 39 years old, something like that. It's insane. Same thing with Jordan Staal. Gosh, these guys are unbelievable athletes and dedicated, absolutely dedicated. So Burns has looked just spry to me, like a little bit more of a step than he had last year. And I didn't think last year, I thought he was bad in the playoffs, and I thought he was kind of ho-hum at the end of the season. Rod kind of let slip that he went hurt. Injury. So sounds to me like somebody had a sports hernia last year at the end of the year. So, pass given. And the way he has played through now 5 games leads me to believe that we haven't even seen the offense kick in yet, that we're going to get a great version of Brent Burns. And I don't think that Rod will be beholden to the consecutive game streak. But as long as Brent is playing well, I think Brent's going to play a lot. But to me, he was their best defenseman tonight. And I thought Slavin was his normal great self. But Burns made a lot of really good Slavin-esque stick plays. Go back and watch Edmonton's first power play and count how many times Brent Burns' stick got in the way of Edmonton progress. It was at least 3 in the power play, and that's the one where Staal lost his stick. They had to be desperate. I thought Burns was spectacular. I thought he was great before he made the play at the side of the goal in the third period that kept the puck out. Again, I don't know how Edmonton didn't score more goals. But I thought Burns was great. And his partner was, I think, also great. And now let's get to the big lumber in the middle of Carolina's lineup. Martin Necas coming into the season, you knew was going to put a lot of pressure on himself. Because, look, I'm not going to even lie and tell you that Marty and I are tight. I'm not going to say that. But I have had a couple of significant conversations with him. And here's my read on Necas, the person. He desperately wants to be great. Desperately. He wants this to be his forever hockey home. He wants to be a Hurricane. This is the only organization he's known. the only head coach he's played for. I mean, I guess he played a game for Bill Peters, 9 minutes of a game for Bill Peters, before going back to the Czech Republic. These are his friends. I mean, he is boys with Andre. He wants to be here. And he knows that the only way for this to be a long-term thing is this year's got to be his year. And I'm not even talking about the Necas who had, 71 points in whatever it was 2 years ago. We had a 71-point season. I'm not even talking about that. Because while he was really good, he still got to the last quarter of the season after Andrei Svechnikov's injury and completely disappeared, and he was a no-show in the playoffs except for one game. It was a great game. He scored twice against the Devils, 2 incredibly talented, high-level skill goals. But he was otherwise a 0 in the playoffs. Last year, I thought he was really good in the playoffs. I loved the line he was with, Drury and Martinook, as they just kind of mixed it up and tried to figure it out. I loved the way that line played. I thought it got Necas to play a different style of hockey. A little bit more edgy, a little bit more physical. And I think it worked for him. And I'm not saying that that's the way he's playing now, but I think we see that it's in there. And I will go back, to, I think it was the second goal in the game against New Jersey. And that was the one where Kotkaniemi kind of occupied 2 players to, free the puck. And Necas ended up on that half wall, and he ended up getting the puck. I guess it was to Gostisbehere. I don't even remember at this point who scored the goal. Who scored the goal was secondary to me, to who caused the goal to be even possible. And that was Necas on the other side of the ice with a physical play to cause problems for the Devils. And eventually, Kotkaniemi's play on the wall gets the puck to Necas, and Necas dishes for the goal. Again, I think it was Gostisbehere, but again, who knows? And I thought tonight, after a first period, and I think for the most part, Necas' first period tonight kind of reflects what he has been. Like, he's trying so hard to make something happen. And I know he had the mistake, the gaffe on the Kapanen goal in St. Louis. I think that was more of a physical mistake than anything. So those are going to happen. You don't want them, but those are going to happen. But he is trying so hard to make something happen that sometimes I think I've had this conversation with Rod, and Rod doesn't believe it's true, but I'll disagree with Rod in this regard. I think you can try too hard. When you try to make something happen, I just think you create tension. I believe that after the first goal, which Necas gets an assist on, he gets the pass over to Gostisbehere, but Necas had another opportunity to score. Stuart Skinner made his best save of the night on that particular play. And Necas just stuck with it. And I'm not sure that, I don't know the mindset. I don't know what he was thinking at all. But I think the fact that Gostisbehere scored there and Necas had a big role in it, I think might have relaxed him. Because I thought the rest of the game, and I think it may have even started in the second period, but the rest of the game, I thought 88 was a handful. So he gets the second goal. And again, we described the goal, Kotkaniemi, Necas, Robinson, great pass. But also a smart play on the part of Necas, going right to where he's supposed to be, back post. And then thought he was good in overtime, as he always is, because who loves overtime? Who loves the format more than a guy who can skate like that? But again, he also makes a really good defensive play in overtime. So I am thrilled that Necas had a big role, factored in all 3 goals, had a big role in this type of win. Next, and I know there's a lot of people that want Necas to sign an extension. He can't do it until after this year. But I said this before, and Necas wants this. If he has a year worthy of, let's do this long term, he'll be 27, right? I think when that next contract would kick in. And who knows if it's for 8 years or not? I don't know. But I think the team would be interested in that, and I know Necas would be interested in that. But we're such a long way off. This is game 5. We got to get through this season and see where it all falls out. Let's talk about Sebastian Aho. To me, Aho has been, other than game 1 where he was no good, I think Aho has been excellent the next 3 nights. And I thought his first period for sure was very good tonight. Beginning of the third, he was a walking turnover. Ooh, some questionable passes, poor puck management. He did get the puck taken from him by McDavid for the McDavid goal that made it 1-0 early in the game. But I thought he had a good first period. But sometimes you just tip your hat to the other guy. And I think we did that in the first period with McDavid. Excuse me while I drink a little bit of my dog. For those of you who don't know, my dog, Earl Weimaraner, is named after the tea, Earl Grey. That's actually his full name. But Aho didn't have a good third period, which made the game-winning goal that much more hysterical. And I also think that if you go back and you watch it, there just was a little extra on that shot. It just looked like to me, that like there was about 30 minutes of frustration behind that blistering slap shot that goes under the crossbar. I think Aho needed that. Here's another guy. Look, when you see Teuvo Teravainen walk out the door, and to a lesser extent Steph Nason, but Brady Skjei and Brett Pesce, and guys who have been here, and guys who really are core members of this team. So 3 of the players I mentioned there, all respect to Steph Nason, but 3 of the players I mentioned, Teravainen, Skjei, and Pesce, even though Teravainen and Skjei were not original Hurricanes, they are part of the core. Brady Skjei was one of us. And to see guys who have been such a big part of this leave, the guys who are left behind, especially the players who are really being counted on, Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis for sure. Those guys are carrying a lot of weight with them this year. And not that Aho is playing that way, like he's got the weight of this team, but Sebastian knows there's really no fallback. If he's not doing the scoring, if Jarvis isn't doing the scoring, if Necas, if Svechnikov, if those 4 guys aren't putting up points, they're probably not winning. The depth scoring, I mean, it remains to be seen what Jackson Blake's going to give him consistently night in, night out. Certainly been a good start. Jack Roslovic's got a couple of goals, but the guy's only had 1 really productive offensive season, and even that was 43 points or something like that. So where's the offense going to come from if it's not those four guys? And I think a guy like Aho really puts a lot of pressure on himself. So tonight's goal, the first one for him past the goalie, he had the empty net goal against, who was it? Pittsburgh? Jersey? One of the two. To me, this is a big goal, not only for Aho, it's a big goal for the team because he got it. If this relaxes him a little bit, I think we're off. I think we're off and going. And we'll just close on, I may have mentioned him before, Shayne Gostisbehere. Some people just fit, right? I think Ghost fits. And I think Gostisbehere is a perfect fit for this team. I think he loves the way they play. And I am super pumped to see what he and Sean Walker can do together as we get into the rhythm of a season. And there's going to be some hiccups defensively, I'm sure. And I actually think Shayne is a minus player. I mean, he's done 3 of his goals have come on the power play. But this is where plus minus can be a very misleading stat. I think he has been excellent defensively. Really, really good defensively. So this has been a fun start. This was a fun game tonight. And my 3 stars didn't involve any of the guys who posted points. 0. To me, Staal, Burns, and Andersen got my 3, but that's just because those guys I think were great from start to finish in the game. Certainly Aho with the goal, Necas factoring in on all 3 goals, 1 goal, 2 helpers, and Shayne Gostisbehere continuing to do his thing is just beautiful. All right. We are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it right there, aluminumcompany.com. There it is. Do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Let's grow this bad boy. Let's get into other former Soviet states. Let's get into Kazakhstan. Let's get into Turkmenistan, right? Let's get into Estonia. Why not? Like, subscribe, share, rate, review, do what you can, spread the word. And we do this after every Hurricanes game for the most part. But I give you heads up when I can't. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com. We'll see you after the Calgary game, same bat time on Thursday night from a little bit further south in Edmonton. In Alberta, the province of Alberta. Until then, I appreciate your time. We'll see everybody next time.